Hey YouTube, Kiritwig here, bringing you all an update to my Blackluster Soldier Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for August 2025. The Blackluster Soldier deck is a ritual-focused deck that can summon out the many different forms of the Blackluster Soldier using the many different ritual spells, and then the added option to give card effects to those Blackluster Soldier monsters based on the type of monsters that were used for the ritual summon. It's always fun to update this deck. Hopefully we do get some more support maybe for it one day down the future, but until then we'll stick with what we got from the original Blackluster Soldier all the way up to the Blackluster Soldier Legendary Swordsman. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters, which are the main focus being the ritual monsters that we summon out. Running 2 copies of Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier. With this ritual monster, you can ritual summon this card with Super Soldier Ritual. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, and inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack in the graveyard. And if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Yugioh the Fierce Knight monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can only special summon Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier once per turn this way. So basically, with this monster, you have the destruction option, the level 8 ritual summon, and then the added option to summon out one of our Yugioh monsters as well, which can be used as the additional, resource for the ritual summon for the cost of those ritual monsters. We only need to run 2 of this card, though. There are plenty of other ways to search out this card in the deck. We want to save room for the other rituals that we run as well, being 2 copies of Blackluster Soldier Legendary Swordsman. You can ritual summon this card with Chaos Form or Super Soldier Ritual. It must be ritual summoned during your main phase before you draw. You can reveal this card in your hand, give up your normal draw this turn, and if you do add 1 ritual spell from your deck to your hand, your opponent cannot activate card or effects during your battle phase. And when this attacking card that was ritual summoned using a normal monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can shuffle all cards your opponent controls into the deck. So this is just the added destruction power of using this card alongside a normal monster for the ritual summon. So you do want to make use of at least 1 normal monster to have for the summon in the deck off of this card to be able to get the additional shuffle back power of your opponent's cards back into the deck thanks to this 1 monster swing of its attack. And then the last of the ritual monsters being the 1 original copy of Blackluster Soldier. I'm just running this copy additionally for a fun variant for all the ritual options. If you want to not run it, you can run additional copies of Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, Legendary Swordsman, Super Soldier, or Envoy of the Evening Twilight. 1 additional copy of any one of these cards to replace both one of these copies and then the ritual spell itself for this spot. For the effect monsters for the main deck, 3 copies of Beginning Night. A Blackluster Soldier monster that was ritual summoned using this card gains these effects. You can only use this effect of Beginning Night once per turn. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and banish it, basically bestowing the ritual monster with the Envoy of the Beginning card effects. And when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. It can make a second attack in a row. And if this card's banished from the graveyard, you can add 1 ritual spell from your deck to your hand, giving you more of that banish option with some of your other cards that would require a banish for a light monster to then get that search for your ritual spell card also. We also want to run 3 copies of Evening Twilight Night. I just have 2 copies of Envoy of the Beginning as placeholders for this card. Gaining the additional effects of a Blackluster Soldier monster ritual summon using this card. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and banish it. And once per turn, you can banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand face down until your opponent's next end phase. So just more restriction on your opponent's monsters and the cards in their hand. And then being able to add a ritual monster if this card is banished from your deck. If this card's banished from the graveyard, being able to add that ritual monster from your deck to your hand. So banishing both of these monsters will give you the needed cards to then use the Envoy of the Beginning for the ritual summon also. We're also running 2 copies of Arsene Yugioh the Fierce Knight, one of the Yugioh Knight monsters that can be summoned off of the original Super Soldier. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can normal summon this card without tributing. If it's tributed, you can special summon 1 Blackluster Soldier monster from your hand or graveyard. You can only use this effect of Arsene Yugioh the Fierce Knight once per turn. And when you ritual summon a Blackluster Soldier monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard as one of the monsters also. Being a level 7 monster, it doesn't take up the whole ritual, but a good part of it to then use alongside our other level 4 monsters for the ritual play. play. And also 1 Charging Gaia, the Fierce Knight, as the option to normal summon without tributing. If it's normal summon without tributing, its original attack becomes 1900. And then if it's tributed, you can add 1 Blackluster Soldier monster from your deck to your hand, giving you more search for the other cards we run in the deck. The 1 Envoy at the beginning for the banish summon of our Blackluster Soldier monster in the main deck. And then the additional banish option with Envoy of the Twilight for the additional play of just being able to use our go-to monster for summoning out our needed resources for the cards as well. And then lastly, for the one-ofs, the 1 normal monster that we can send off of our Super Soldier Synthesis for the summon of our Blackluster Soldier Legendary Swordsman, and then be able to utilize the Shuffleback power as well. You just need the 1. It can be any light or dark level 4 monster to equal out with Beginning Night and Evening Twilight Night for the Ritual Summon play. So your choice for what you want for this specific spot. And then for additional Ritual Engine, we are running the 3 copies of Diviner of the Herald and 3 copies of Manju. They're just good search power for any of the ritual spells and monsters we need, and also just being able to set up cards like Herald of the Arclight for the send to get these searches also. For the spells, we're running the 2 copies of Super Soldier Ritual. It can be used to ritual summon any Blackluster Soldier ritual monster. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal exactly 8. And during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card and 1 light monster, 1 dark monster from your graveyard to special summon 1 Blackluster Soldier Ritual from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can only use this effect of Super Soldier Ritual once per turn, but once again, the added setup for your Blackluster Soldier Ritual monsters for the play using this card for the Ritual Summon. The 2 copies of Super Soldier Synthesis for the Ritual play, of also being able to send 1 light and 1 dark monster, 1 from your hand, and 1 from your deck to the graveyard, whose total levels equal 8. So then this added play for the Ritual Summon can give you the added setup using these cards for the Ritual play and the normal monster that I mentioned before as well. And then lastly, the 1 Blackluster Ritual, which once again, if you wanted to not run the original Blackluster Soldier, you could just replace this for an additional Blackluster Envoy monster, Evening monster, or one of the ritual monsters as well, or an additional one of the other ritual spells. We're also running 3 copies of Gateway to Chaos. When it's activated, you can add 1 Blackluster Soldier ritual monster from your deck to your hand. Each time a monster card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, place 1 spell counter on this card. For each of those cards sent, maximum 6. And once per turn, you can remove 3 from this card to add 1 ritual spell from your deck to your hand. So just more search power off of the original activation of this card for the Blackluster Soldier Ritual, and then the ritual spell by removing the ritual counters. And then the 1 copy of Terraforming just to search out Gateway to Chaos, Pot of Prosperity for more or less the banished resource to get into cards we need. You don't really use the extra deck for much except for the actual engine for the ritual plays. 1 Foolish Burial from our graveyard setup of those monsters. Reinforcements of the army to search out our level 4 Blackluster Soldier monsters. The 1 Call by the Grave, and then to finish off the spells, 2 copies of Ultimate Slayer, because once again they can be used as a send resource for our different extra deck monsters, on top of being able to activate particular monster effects and take away one of our opponent's monsters also. And then for the traps, 1 copy of Super Soldier Rebirth and the 1 Super Soldier Shield as a counter trap option. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated that targets a monster on the field while we control a Blackluster Soldier monster, negate the activation, destroy it, and then being able to remove spell counters from our side of the field to set this card as a recycle from the graveyard. And then the added setup for our cards as well, being able to use Super Soldier Rebirth as a special summon option for a 1 from our hand with a different name than that monster, ignoring the summoning conditions, just giving us a stronger Blackluster Soldier monster in the form of that card to do so. And then for the extra deck, for the Synchros, 3 copies of Herald of the Arclight, just for send cost cards for Ultimate Slayer and Diviner of Herald, along with the 1 copy of Golden Cloud Beast Malong for the bounce power when it's sent to the graveyard, the 2 copies of Elder Entity for the destruction power when sent off of Ultimate Slayer or our Diviner of Herald, and the 1 Garura when sent off of Ultimate Slayer as well for draw power. the 1 copy of Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, the 1 Tornado Dragon, along with the 1 Bujinte Tsukuyomi and the 1 number 38 Hope Harbinger for the different Xyz monsters that we run. And then for the Link monsters, can't run a Blackluster Soldier deck without Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, having the same banish, attack, gain options, needing 3 monsters with different names to summon it out. Dynamondo for the ritual setup, along with the 1 Dark the Dark Charmer and the 1 Lena the Light Charmer for grabbing back resources for us to use for our ritual plays as well. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I said before, you can use your Legendary Swordsman for the reveal before you draw to give up your normal draw and then add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand. So then you can use this card to add your ritual spell of choice. If you're going to go for the big shuffle back play, you'll need use of the normal monster. So if it's still in your deck, you'll add your Super Soldier Synthesis, activating this card. And then you'll need to use the normal monster from the deck, which once again, bear in mind, you'll have to use the opposite attribute for the monster you used off of this card for the send. So if you're going to send your dark attribute level 4 monster from the deck to the graveyard, you'll have to have the light attribute monster in your hand to use. So beginning night always comes in handy because then it'll give your monster the added banish play as well, and then being able to have it and make a second attack as well. And then when this card attacks, so it's virtual summon using a normal monster, which it was since we have the 2 used for the play, you can then destroy an opponent's monster by battle and shuffle all cards your opponent controls into the deck. So you have these 3,000 attack point monster that can swing into your opponent's card and then be able to just get rid of all the additional resources your opponent has on the field thanks to this card as well. You have the additional setup with our Gaia monsters as well, using the banish for the requirements for Gaia, but also just giving you more or less those resources off of cards like our Super Soldier when it's destroyed off the field, and then being able to set up our Super Soldier with the same ritual setup as mentioned before. But if you use cards like your Beginning Night and your Evening Twilight Night, you just be able to give the additional banish effects that both of these cards require, and then the added attack and hand restriction that they can both give to your level 8 monster that you summon out, whether it be the Super Soldier, the Legendary Swordsman, or even the original Blackluster Soldier, which they can all be summoned out quite easily because we want our main go-to normal summons to either be Diviner of Herald or Manju the 10,000 Hands, which can both search out the needed cards that we may be missing from our hand as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Always glad to update this deck. It's a very fun one. I definitely do recommend if you're a fan of Yugi's original cards from the first series especially. And until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.